Hello and welcome to Simon Says Artwork. In this video I'm going to be drawing another Inktober sketch, and this is going to be with my left hand, which I've been doing all month because I injured my right hand on the 30th of September, and since then I started drawing with my left hand because I thought if I do that for the month, the goal is the 31st of October I'll do a drawing with both hands simultaneously. I don't know if that'll work, I don't know if it'll look good, it might be a load of rubbish, but that's what I'm going to do on the last day of this month for the final Inktober installment or submission or whatever you want to call it. So for the time being, I've been doing all of my drawings in this little black book, which I quite like because it's a good size, it's only small, and I do these drawings really late at night. Here in North Wales right now, it is just gone 5 to 1 in the morning, and it's always this late. Sometimes it's 4 in the morning when I'm finishing up and transferring and rendering these videos and editing them. So it's been a bit of a nightmare, and for several reasons really, but ideally I'm going to try and get this done and finished as quick as possible. But I also want to learn something and get something good done. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so going through the book now, and my latest installment is going to be on spur of the moment, just trying to make certain shapes, and I immediately think to put them into some perspective. The reason for this is that I think it makes an image quite interesting, and because I did a lot of straight lines yesterday, I've started to work a little bit more on curved lines, and I'm happy with how I do the curved lines when it comes to big shapes like this. They seem fairly easy. So what I know that I've got to work on after I've done this is the hatching, and that's always going to be a little bit more tricky because it's so uniform and tucked in together that it becomes obvious with how difficult it is. You have to really try to build some kind of mechanical movement, this ability to just create this this motion repetitive over and over again to try and create this effect. And this is the most stressful part of this drawing for me, is to try and repeat this motion over and over again and to try and have this illusion of texture and depth build up. And it takes a while. And the way that I do it is probably time consuming as well, because I work on the edges, and then on one of these shapes, which turns out to be rocks and boulders, I decide to start working on the texture on the top. And it's strange. It's not an obvious rock texture that I build up on the top. It's more just an experiment with hatching and seeing if I can get lines that I'm happy with. Now the lines on the top, I don't mind them being wobbly because it's an organic shape and they very seldom have incredibly straight lines on them. Some will, and there is a rule of thumb that nothing in nature is straight. I'm sure there is things which are impeccably straight, because that's how randomness works, is something will randomly be perfectly straight, but as a rule of thumb you don't do anything perfectly straight, and I don't think there's the chance of me doing that, because it is very, very difficult so far for me to just do hatching at all on these shapes, to the point where I'm trying to think of excuses why I don't need to continue doing the hatching whilst I'm doing it. I'm thinking maybe if I only do part of it, it'll suggest light on the other side. And then I just think, no, I've done hatching on the majority of the tops of the shapes as well, so I need to try to do them on the majority of the shapes. Maybe not all of them, but on a lot of them. And on this one is the only one where I change the direction of the hatching, and I do it in sort of strange, almost bubbles. And that's because I was trying to work on the idea of that being driftwood in between the rocks, but you can't really tell. And it's also based on the shape because it has more jagged shapes in between it. And I do a shadow gap in the centre there, which I start to build up with this small nib, just to heighten the fact that, to indicate the fact that that's where that's going to go black, is on the inside. But then I forge ahead, and it is not the most enjoyable thing to do, but I just think try to imagine that the end result will be somewhat pleasing and will work somehow, because at this point I just think this does not look good. This looks almost like elephant skin or some kind of animal's patterning on the fur more than it looks like any texture of rocks. But I just think so long as I keep doing it, it doesn't matter. I've just got to be consistent, and I've got to persevere. Basically, that's the challenge with Inktober, is that it's so easy to give up, and especially when you're not enjoying a drawing, it's so easy to think, well, there's no point in doing this. Now, with it being late at night as well, it makes these things tricky, but it also made me think I've got to speed up on this, because I don't want to spend all night doing the drawing. I've done this before and I don't get as many views when I upload past a certain time, and I'm already past that point now. So it's tricky. It's a real balance, and I'm trying to work on that a little bit more. But there we are. So I get all the hatching done for the tops and the sides of these shapes and rocks and things. So now I get the 1.0 nib to get a shadow edge on one side and the back of these shapes, and that is to suggest light coming from the front and the left hand side. And this is the strongest part of the drawing to me, is just to create this illusion of light and shadow, and also the illusion of form that happens when you start to heighten the marks on one side over another. It just really creates this reality that isn't there without it. Now it's a little bit tricky, because obviously these ones in the distance here don't have much opportunity to show the dark edge, but I think, okay, that's a good start. It looks okay, but they are just drifting in nothingness. So I start to create these random swirls and marks around them, and this is where I can really take advantage of the fact that I can't do straight lines and that my left hand is still very wobbly. And you can see from that line that goes off to the right, was supposed to be a horizontal line, but it turns out is actually quite wavy. So I do this all around the different shapes to suggest some kind of swirls and motions in the water, and then it's immediately given a bit of environment, which I think really helps the rocks sit in something which looks just a bit more appealing. Anything which looks like that. And then drawing a horizontal line there just to give it a horizon line. Now I don't mind this as a finished piece. I think it's okay. It's balanced out the lights and darks on both sides, and that's where I got up to. Okay, so that is the drawing done. This is what it looks like. I think it's quite interesting. Now I must admit I rushed through this one because, like I said in the intro, it's late at night. I really want to get it done, but I want to try and do a drawing that's at least half decent and something which you can look at. But it wasn't planned or thought through properly. And the only thought that I had earlier was that I'm going to try and do contour hatching, which I did a little bit of, but not enough to really justify that being the lesson. Either way, it's something which I think I kind of can live with. I don't mind it as a double page spread. It's kind of, it's a little bit different from the other submissions. If I go back through to the beginning, I think it's got enough variation where it's now part of this patchwork of drawings. This is where I am so far. So this is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12, number 13, and this today was number 14. So what should I say will be the goal tomorrow? You know what I really need to do? And this might sound like something which I've already done, but I promise you it's something which I think I really need to figure out, is vertical hatching. And maybe some cross hatching. But yeah, vertical hatching, I can't even do it in the air, I'm doing it diagonal. Because with my right hand, I can just do vertical hatching. And it's not perfect, but it's at least somewhat in a row. And the more loose I do them, the better it becomes. I'd like to do a double page spread. So I would like to get these 2 pages pretty much, maybe not wholly, but pretty much covered with vertical lines. And then after I've done that, maybe go back over and cross hatch certain sections, but I'll see what it looks like, see what I can make out of it. That's the plan, is to try and build certain skills up so that I've practiced enough and that I've got this muscle memory with my left hand. Hopefully that'll be the case by the end of the month, and I'll be able to draw quite well with both hands. Not that I draw that well with my right hand, but you know, enough where I'm happy to go, right, let's do a sketch. Now, I don't know if you're new to my channel. If you are, my right hand has actually healed. It healed fairly early in the month, but I thought I'm going to stick to my left hand just for the time being, because I really want to complete this challenge with this additional challenge on top, really. Because Inktober's already, it's quite tricky to do a drawing every day, but at the same time, to do your drawing every day with a hand that you don't draw with, I'm not left-handed at all, it's just an additional, you know, hurdle to try and get over. So anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, share this video and the channel with any friends or family, anyone who you know who might like it or enjoys art in any way. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.